Hey, what is up, everyone? Kilryan and Flowroro here, bringing you the third weekly Everything TERA podcast. This week, we're going to be talking a lot about the focus, the new content that's going to be coming out in probably about 3 months here. It just hit K-TERA, so the new T15 gear, the new new PvP gear, new PvE gear, new dungeons, raids, everything along those lines. For those of you who don't know who I am, I'm Kilryan. I actively stream as well as post content on YouTube, whether it be PvE guides, gold making guides, power leveling, all that kind of stuff, as well as just some miscellaneous stuff like my fish video for those of you who are subscribed. As well as I have a Berserker PvP guide on TERAtoday.com, easily your best source of TERA-related guides.
My name is Flo. I do a lot of competitive PvP. I like to write guides on, like what my afterthought is in terms of PvP. And honestly, I like to promote this game. And I want to, really showcase exactly how this game can be played and so on. What are you doing?
Sorry, my girlfriend was just like, I think she just shook her head at me doing the podcast. So I already kind of went over what we're going to be talking about today, guys, but just kind of brief overview once again. We're going to be talking about the new patch that's going to be coming out. It already has hit K-TERA, so we're going to be looking forward to seeing this probably in about 3 months. This is the Reaper class. This is T15 with both PvP and PvE gear, the new crafting system that they're implementing, new dungeons, and even raids. Overall, I think what they're going to be doing for the most part is with the introduction of new T15 gear, what that means is that all of our old gear is going to be replaced. All of this old content, MC hard mode and everything along those lines is going to be pushed to the wayside. Like, we're all going to have a new kind of set of gear to go for. And for the most part, I like that. I like the idea of replacing old gear with new gear. Of course, that's a very standard MMO thing. Just kind of that typical gear progression. What is your take on the new T15?
I like the fact that there's a new gear set to go for, but I dislike the fact that it's kind of taking our old gear and just kind of putting it the same way. Like, like with the whole like Vision Maker 3. I understand why there's a third one now. It's just like now we have to go through 1, 2, and then 3. They could have just made something brand new, maybe something fresh, and something just to kind of keep the game a little bit more interesting rather than using the same elements with basically higher modifiers. I think, though, that like having something to work for right now with new PvE is going to give us something to do for a really long time. They plan to put a challenge on the game, and I think that... sorry. I think that's some... that's really what the game needs right now. Is just something really PvE.
Like,
pardon me?
Reinvigorating the game, giving stuff for people to do again. But one thing though about what you're saying is that they're doing it the same way. I mean, I don't think that they're doing that because they're giving us the opportunity. They're calling it Vision Maker 3. Everyone's deeming it Vision Maker 3 when it's not. But it can use Vision Maker. This is kind of what we're going to be talking about later regarding the the crafting system and whatnot. But you can go straight up to Vision Maker 3. You don't have to craft Vision Maker 1, Vision Maker 2, Vision Maker 3. In fact, it's not even beneficial to go that route for the most part. Like, I think the only reason why the reason why you can use Vision Maker 2 to craft the Vision Maker 3 is just so that it actually gives some value to all of our time
previous
spent.
efforts. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so that's not a bad thing, in my opinion.
I just think it's a lot of work. Like, just kind of the way, like... I mean, I'm sure they could have... I feel like they have enough ideas to make something brand new. Which they do. Right now, like, what have they done, like, so far? They've added, just kind of, like, different effects onto your gear. Like, the whole Calisthenics proc on weapons and ice procs on your weapons. Just, like, another lightning proc. Like, it's just kind of reusing a lot of old content, I feel.
Have they done that, though? Like, is that what they're actually adding?
No,
like
they don't plan to.
Okay,
but that's what they've done in the past.
I mean, I think adding more procs to the game isn't the greatest of routes that they could take. Essentially, like I don't agree with doing that. But moving into basically the progression that's going to be happening, let's talk a little bit about the new jewelry that they're going to be doing, and I want to point out the set bonuses. Like, the fact that they're introducing set bonuses, I like that a lot. It adds more, because right now there's no, you don't really gain anything from being like, oh, I'm gonna make Vision Maker PvE chess piece and then compared to the PvP chess piece. It's such a minor increase. But now instead, if you put your time in just the PvP gear, you're going to be getting that additional endurance, that additional power, as well as like the new rings and whatnot. One, the attack modifiers out of this world, on top of the rollable stats being like, or not the rollable, but like the default ruby rings, I think they were. It's like the PvP damage rings, but they have like 14 crit rate on them, as well as like either 14 crit rate or 9 power. I don't know. What is your take on the introduction of like set bonuses being a lot more prominent, as well as like this new jewelry?
I think that the set bonuses are great. It means that like people are going to be stronger and tankier at the same time. I think that it just kind of really it puts a lot of meaning into getting your gear. You know what I'm saying? Like you're like, oh, if I get one more piece, I can finish my set and get the bonus. They're adding these little effects that like really add up. Like just so much crit resist is being added up. The earrings are giving off like 15, and then like the set bonus giving another 10. Like people are just not going to get crit as often. They're going to have more HP. They're going to be tankier. They've added a new belt, more HP, more damage. It's just like insane. Like you just expect people to be way more tanky, way more less likely to get crit, and just like doing way more damage. And that's exactly what we're looking for. Just like a new set that makes us feel stronger and really put value to the time we're putting into the game.
Yeah. I actually completely forgot about the belt slot. So that being introduced, I like that. Like I've always been a person to think like, oh, TERA really doesn't have any gear slots. It's just like in WoW, I was so used to having over double the amount that we have available here. And so I was just always kind of like, damn, like there's not that much gear. So with the introduction of a belt slot, I do like that. Hopefully they kind of tweak it though, to where it's like there are different like feels of belts compared to just like a base stat line. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But one thing that we really need to progress into is the fact that with the new gear and whatnot, they're doing the crafting overhaul. I know you've had a little bit of hands-on experience on TERA with this, which I'm not sure exactly how much you've discovered or anything along those lines. But with the new crafting overhaul, how does that work? The fact that we have limited crafting and whatnot?
Okay, what it is they're fusing a lot of the categories together. So right now, our current crafting is we have weaponsmithing, focus crafting. That's like that. They're gonna take that and put it together. They have all three armor types. That's gonna be in one together. Alchemy is gonna be its own separate thing, and they're adding a new thing called runic scrolls, where it's kind of like a new special effect that you can put on each piece of your gear. They're doing this thing called the productivity system, and what it is basically you have a base cap of 4,000 points, and what it is you slowly burn these points down through gathering, through crafting your scrolls, through doing your gear, and so it's kind of a way that they designed it so that you don't invest so much into crafting, but at the same time, like it really gives off that feel that you need to be able to craft. Like the crafting system has always been kind of, I guess to say, very dull in a sense where you just get 410 and then you craft all your gear. Now it's like when you cap out on each section, you have an opportunity to give it a mastery, and by obtaining that mastery, you can actually go up to 800 instead of 410 and be able to craft the best gear possible. There's other gear that you can craft now, and I just feel like it's really putting a stage up
and only you can only have one mastery, right? Like you can't say, oh, I'm going to just be a weaponsmith, like, and you'll be able to masterfully craft your weapon, but you're gonna have to find someone, right? Like you're gonna have to.
What it is
Okay.
they added a scroll that lets you completely reset it, and once
Oh,
you
God.
reset it, you can just push it up again to the next. Like basically, you'll max out your weapon crafting, and you're like, all right, I got my weapon. This is cool. You'll have to reset it. Then you have to work towards getting that armor all the way up to 800, and you're limited by the amount of points you have every day. So they don't expect you to just make all your gear in one day. You can't do that.
That's one thing that I'm kind of scared of, though, because they introduced that the what was it, point proficiency, whatever the hell they're called. They introduced a thing which resets it or restores your points on the TCAT shop. So I'm kind of scared of what that means. Like, if they bring that over to NA or EU, like, I really hope they don't, because I think forcing that time, like forcing a time limiter on it is good, in my opinion, because like you can go hard every single day, but then at the same time you're not going to be like in full fucking gear before everyone else in the entire server. Though there are a lot of measures which you can take to like speed up the process. Like I know Espe, a lot of you probably know Espe from TERA Today, posting a lot of pretty much all of the TERA information across the internet essentially for TERA, and they posted on their Twitter actually saying that we should cap out on our Agnature credits, our Noctinium Society, and I think Belcarium, as well as Killing Spree if you're looking to PvP. So I think that with the new crafting system and whatnot, using all these old credits still, or these old factions, I think that a lot of people are still going to be able to kind of do that. Like I know for myself, I'm going to be capping out all those credits before the patch hits. But do you think that should be something that like the general public should do, or just the people who beast it?
I feel like it really suits TERA's style. You know, like using everything possible, every piece of content possible for you to progress your gear.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's kind of, in a way, it's not very appealing to everyone. And I feel like by capping out, I mean, it does give you the edge, but I really recommend people to kind of take a casual approach to it. There's a lot of work involved in making this gear, and you're not gonna get it in a day. Like,
yeah, don't
like,
burn yourself out.
It's gonna kill you if you really want to get this gear. It's such a bigger step than when VM1 first came out, from VM2 just recently coming out. Like, it's a lot of stuff, and you should just really take a slow pace to it, or you're just gonna kill yourself.
We don't
honestly.
know that exactly, though. Like this. Keep in mind, everyone who's watching, everyone who's listening, this is something that we've seen through basic translation from Espe, a little bit of hands-on from Flo on the TERA realm and whatnot. We don't know exactly how hard it's going to be. Like, we don't know. You were saying it takes 888,000 Noctinium Society credits, but I find that to be obscene, and that'll
Or like a
be
million
patched.
Nexus credits, and we were like, there's no way. Like, it's
There's
so
no
much.
way. So everything, I think everything's still in the, like, TERA is the playground. TERA is the beta realms. While, like, whenever it comes over here, it'll be more refined and whatnot. So, though, I agree. Feel free to take a semi-casual approach to it. But in spirit of being, like, a hardcore player, myself, as, you know, if you're that hardcore PvE, or if you're that hardcore PvPer, you can still put the time in for it, though. You know what I mean? So with that in mind, I think how hard they're going to be to get. I feel that it's overall an appropriate pace if they make it take a really long time. I think you said this before, that they're looking for something to kind of hold us while they get focus on more new content, especially with their new development team.
Yeah, like, I feel like there's been sort of leaks of some of the, like, the mobs already. Like, we've seen from when Queen was first released, it was initially, we never even seen Queen. Like, when there was initially data mined, those, like, mutant Kumas in the 7-man, those were actually leaked from way back, and now that we're finally getting into this game, they kind of need that time, you know? Like, every PvE patch that they've implemented so far has given them time to develop a PvP, like arena platform for us to, like, actually play on, so maybe after we get a big spice of PvE, maybe we'll just get PvP, maybe like 6 months down the road or something like that. And that's something I'm really hoping for, because we definitely need something new to do as well, along with this.
It'd be cool if they added more something along the lines of like 5v5 arena or something like that. Like, I would look forward to something along those lines. More focus on the competitive nature of PvP, instead of like Corsairs and Freywind, which are more like Zergy and stuff like that. But with the patch coming, we do have to say that, like, I'm personally still going to be sticking with my Berserker. You know, seeing the new rates in which, like, the axe is like 6,700 base. I believe it's like 6,700 base, which is 700. Yeah, it's like a 700 increase compared to my current axe, which is massive. On top of just the overall stat rolls, I think it's going to be pretty insane. So I'm looking forward to playing with my Berserker. But I know that you were saying that you might look into Reaper?
Honestly, from my perspective, I really want to gear my Slayer. Like, I know a lot of, I guess my fans really like the way that I play my Slayer, and I'm gonna definitely gear it to show exactly how viable they're gonna be after everyone gets their gear. But I think that with Reaper coming out, there's gotta be, you know, it really suits, like, my sort of aggressive playstyle, and it's gonna be, unfortunately, it's gonna be something I'm gonna gear as well, so it's just kind of like this really big project. I can barely gear my main alone, let alone gear another class, but I feel like it's definitely gonna showcase that class a lot more, especially on the NA scene. It's something that I'm definitely looking forward to do.
Yeah, since you've already had hands-on, I think it'll be kind of unfair, to be honest. But, like, hopefully on your YouTube channel, you'll be actually putting in a couple more things, like actual how to play Reaper and whatnot. Like,
Oh, definitely.
I feel that would definitely be a very, very hot topic for everyone that are going to be looking into the class, because you know everyone is going to be making a Reaper. Everyone.
If I ever get good at it, I'll write a guide, just like I wrote my last guide, so...
You're pretty, like... I'm pretty sure anyone who touches a Reaper at first, like, do you know... It's going to be like TERA on the release. They're just going to be kicking Reapers left and right. They're like, Reaper? Nope, get out of my group. Because they, you know, no one knows what they can do or how good they are right now. So with the introduction of all that new PvP gear, PvE gear, and the crafting system rehaul, we kind of have to talk about the dungeons. Like, obviously, that's going to be the core focus of this next patch, because however much we like or dislike it, PvE is what keeps players playing the game. It makes money for the people who are veterans. It intrigues the people who are casuals. Keeps them kind of playing, just doing random stuff and everything like that. So with the new patch, they're coming out with what? 2 new 5-mans. One of them being like kind of an easy 5-man. I think they compared it to Kezel's Gorge, hard challenge or whatever. And I know you actually made a video of it, which I'll post in the annotation here, to his new video and what he thinks of it, as well as a new MC hard mode successor. So one of the more challenging, or the most challenging dungeon in the game right now. There's going to be a new version of that, which I'm looking forward to. The only PvE dungeon I've ever had a lot of fun in was MC hard mode, because it did give that appropriate level of challenge that I think TERA deserves. And then they're bringing in a new 7-man, correct?
Yes, there's a 7-man.
A new 7-man and 10-man. Oh, and the solo dungeon. So with the introduction of all of these different things, like, I think what they're trying to do is just give everyone a new, like, a breath of fresh air with all this new content. And I know you've had some hands-on, like I said, with the solo man and the new 5-man, the easy 5-man. What are your takes on those? Like, how do you feel about them?
I like the solo. The solo is fun. It's supposed to be designed so that every class can do it, and they really can. They have it's 3 stages. The first stage is the defend. You're defending like a Vulcan kind of boss against all these mobs. There's a second stage where you're supposed to help a Terralith destroy Crystal, and then there's a third stage where you defeat the final boss. And it's supposed to be a dungeon that really rewards you based on how well you can solo it. There's a chance you can skip both the stages and go right to the last boss and just kind of clear it really quickly. Or you can just, as you're doing each one, it makes the last boss a lot easier. So it's kind of like really simple, daily kind of thing. It's affected by your entries the same way as the current 357 that we do right now.
Okay. So in that, like though, if you're having to protect stuff, like, do you think a priest and mystic and things like that can do it easily?
Well, the very first stage is so easy. It's just a matter of killing the mobs. So long as you kill them, the guy is really tanky. He kind of just swings his arm everywhere, and all the mobs knock down. So it's supposed to be designed to be really easy. It's really soloable.
That's good. And along with that, the introduction of the new Molten tokens, Molten Token 2 and Seismo Token 2. Essentially, from what I understand, that gear is like slightly better than VM2. Like, I've actually looked. I watched a stream not too long ago, Renaissance stream, or Resonance stream, which actually showcased the essentially new Steadfast Molten tokens and whatnot, and it actually had like a higher attack modifier than VM2. So that's kind of going back to that idea of completely rehauling the new gear set, making VM2 kind of non-existent. So I don't know if I agree with that fully, but I think for the most part, it'll give access to quality gear for all the newer players as well. So the solo man, the 5-man, the new 7-man, 10-man, all of those drop Molten Token. The Molten Token 2, I believe.
Yes, they all drop like mats to create the new gear, and they're all supposed to be limited by the amount of entries you have. Which I was saying in my video earlier, that you're definitely going to need a lead if you really want to maximize on getting these rewards. It's just like the same way with our current 357. There's not RNG to it as much now. It's more you're getting... Actually, no, I lied. You do get a box every time, and it does drop you a mat that you're going to need to help you progress your crafting.
Is that like a new Argon Vitriol, or what is that?
It's kind of like a mat that creates another mat. It's just kind of like materials, I feel, that help you boost up your crafting to ensure that you hit the cap so you can make the best gear possible.
Okay.
Just kind of like prerequisites.
Did you in your hands-on with the new crafting system, was it hard? Was it actually hard to level up to 800?
I still haven't hit 800 to this day. It's like so much things you have to get because there's new recipes and such, so you have to find those too. It's not like
it's okay. I like that though. Because it makes crafting not as dull as it was, like you said previously. Mm-hmm. So what are your hopes and expectations of the 7-man, the 10-man, and the new hard mode 5-man?
Well, I feel like the 7 should be easy. It should be something puggable, just kind of like how Kezel's Gorge is right now. You go in there, and you defend something, you just kill them, and and you're supposed to get, like, the Kezel's Gorge right now in TERA, the 3-man and the 5-man TERA, actually rewards you a lot of items. Like, it gives a lot more items than our hard copy of those dungeons, and it just drops all the accessories you need. And I feel like it should be sort of that rewarding, especially when you're pugging it. It's kind of... You don't know what you're getting yourself into when you're pugging, obviously, so you may as well get rewarded for it. I feel like the 10-man should be definitely a step up from the 10-man that we currently have. The 10-man we have right now, it seems way too easy. It's just kind of like, when we first got the first impression of a 10-man coming, we expected some form of difficulty
to go down.
Yeah, exactly.
Hard mode should have been normal mode, you know?
Exactly. Like, the 10-man was supposed to be the expectation of us after we got Queen, and it was really let down, so they really have to step it up. And if you've seen the stream so far with all the Korean streamers doing the 10-man, you wipe. there's white phases, so good luck.
Yeah.
It's gonna be fun.
Progression is what really keeps. For one, it fosters guild environments. In other words, people like really being like, okay, guys, we need to work together and we need to like get on, like not super hardcore to where you got to be like, all right, we're raiding 5 days a week, 6 hours progression every day, but enough to where it's like, all right, guys, like let's sit down, buckle down for 3 or 4 hours, whether it be only the first 2 weeks or whatever. But it needs to be that kind of progression to where you can't just like pug it on a whim with like the most retarded of players. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Like it really needs to measure like a set bar of skill that you're gonna need to down these dungeons. Like that's how it's been with the PvE content in the past before this recent patch. This recent patch has like the 3, 5, 7, and 10. Mm-hmm. It feels very
mundane,
casual, and it doesn't really match with the way with how the game was before. Like back, like as we were saying in the last podcast, back in the day, PvE was difficult. Like you had to learn, you had to really step in, you had to maybe make a group that you can trust and actually get through it. And I feel like it needs that edge back, you know, and that's what makes PvE interesting. Didn't
they also state that there's going to be some feature in the 10-man, almost SJG or like something on those lines-esque, that will let us, like, it gives replayability to it. Like, it gives, the more you clear it, there are, like, more ways to get more loot out of it, or something along those lines. I remember Espe, a long time ago, this is in the patch preview, or of TERA, when they were announcing these things. And it stated that there was going to be some form of improving it to where new players, like newer, fresh level 60s and whatnot, can go in there, wipe a couple times, and clear it eventually. But then it gives people, veteran players who have cleared it, you know, hunt 50 times, you know, to 100 times, there's a reason to go back. Because I think it's going to be dropping those enchantment scrolls, like materials for those enchantment scrolls that we were talking about.
Yeah.
From what I understand. So that's actually pretty good, though, that the 10-man is going to actually have a raid feel to it, like to where you're not able to just steamroll it like Wonderhome is currently. But I think a lot of people's focus is actually going to be on the 5-man hard mode. That's overtaking Manaya's. Go.
Actually, someone's actually asking me what our impressions of is how the new gear is going to look in terms of VM3 and such. And actually, I'm going to drop this link here. This is like the armor that I saw on Espe's stream right now. Here, let me toss this onto your chat as well. And this is a preview of what Espe has found in terms of data mining the new armor. We have no idea with how the new gear before VM3 is going to look, but we've seen a lot of the sprites, and there are actually, like, some of the gear doesn't really impress me, and so we're hoping that the VM3 is going to be a really big look to it, you know?
Yeah.
Like, they're using a lot of older sprites. If you notice with the Reaper gear, they're kind of reusing it over and over, the same templates, a slight color tweak, etc. So it's...
Yeah.
We I don't know. Right now, I don't have much expectation, but I'm hoping VM3 or the best gear possible.
At the Steadfast gear, the improved Steadfast, there was one on a Reaper stream not too long ago, and it was like a pretty cool like gold and blue color actually, which I like that combo. Like it was like a golden like a teal weapon. And that actually looked cool. I like that color combination a lot. But from the sprites and like the data mine stuff, I have seen a little bit of it. It looks pretty plain, but like you said, hopefully that there'll be like a different feel to it overall. Because you know, if you spend that much time getting gear, you want it to look baller as fuck. Of course, you know that's why we also have costumes. You know, they make it look bad on purpose.
To buy costumes.
Conspiracy. You heard it here. But yeah, back to the new MC hard mode. Essentially, overall, I really hope that it brings back that feel of 5-man static groups. some people say they don't like that, but I found it to be one of the most important things whenever I was in a progression, like more hardcore-esque guilds, that like statics formed and whatnot, and really just kind of created that kind of content that allowed a guild, or not only just a guild, but a community to look to try and conquer. I don't know. My overall expectation of it is to at least mirror the amount of one-shot mechanics that MC Hard Mode has.
I think that's a that's a great thing. Being able to dodge things that are gonna like one shot you no matter what. It feels rewarding. Like, I'm out playing this dungeon. I'm playing really well, and it just gives that excitement. You know, that hype when I was first down in Queen, it was like,
oh dude,
danger to the left, danger to the right. Like, am I gonna avoid all this for once? And it's just like every time that you manage to do it, and then you're just working towards it. That's the thing I want to feel. And the way they designed the game now, with res goals being easy, charms being 30 minutes long, like self-reses, like complete crystal blinds. Those just help you just keep face tanking, keep going in there, keep trying, and it's just like you're getting less punished for it, and it helps you learn and it helps you have fun, especially.
Yeah. It definitely. That's one thing, is I hope a lot more players, that since the surge of the free-to-play and whatnot are coming in, have pretty much come in so far, I really hope that more people are willing to try all of this content, because it felt like in the MC Hard Mode days, so many people were like so caught up with just their basic stuff, like, oh, we gotta clear like AC, Argon Corpus back then. It was like, that was their stuff. But now I feel like all those players should have kind of veteraned up a little bit. And so hopefully we'll see a lot more players actually trying the hard content of the game.
Yeah, and this is really going to be a great step for new players that have been like coming into this game so far, that's been playing for a couple months and not really really getting that traditional feel that the old pay-to-play players used to get. And I think that with new PvE content coming up, it's going to give you that edge, like that whole, like, that excitement of, can I be like the first group to down this stuff, and like, oh man, this looks really tough. And when I was watching like old PvE content getting down, I was like pulling my hair out, like, am I going to be able to do this? This is like, if I can do it, I'm going to get really excited.
Yeah.
And you just feel really accomplished in the game, especially.
I remember those MC Hard Mode days. My first down, like, your heart's fucking racing, man. Like, it's pumping, and you're just like, especially Queen back then, back when you didn't DPS fast enough to where she would like be permanently stuck. It's like when she's under 20%, she's going crazy, or even 8%. The 8% was just insane, especially for berserkers back then. But like, I hope that they bring that back, and I hope that the community recognizes what it is, like, and what it's there for, and not complain. That is one thing that I am scared of, that Bluehole will adhere to, is if enough of the 50 bad, or like people who are like super casual and not willing to even try to progress start complaining on the forums. I really hope that Bluehole sticks to what their original idea of what TERA is, being that real action combat, that challenging game that so many gamers have been looking for, and especially in an MMO. Like, I hope that they don't cater it to people who are like that. I get where they're coming from. I get where casuals. I use the word loosely, casuals. Where, like, why they want like easy access content for all, but at the same time, it takes the fun out of the game for those who actually want to like feel that challenge. You know what I mean? But overall, guys, let's see. Up. Messed everything up. Alright. So we're going to be wrapping it up here, guys. Overall, what we talked about today was pretty much what we expect in the new content, the new T15 gear sets, the new crafting system, the new dungeons, a lot about the new dungeons, and kind of just what we feel, how we feel TERA's progressing, how we feel it's going to evolve and come into this next patch, which we can probably expect to see in, they stated in spring. Tree Shark did state in spring, so I'm assuming late March to mid-April, somewhere around there. Overall, I think it's definitely going to be a patch that's going to bring a new breath to TERA, which is much, much needed at this point in time. And like I said, I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, so am I. New PvE, new things to do, new class. What's next? You know, it's just like so many different things to do, so many changes. So it's definitely going to be exciting for me. And I think it'll be a lot, like, to a brand new player that finally gets to really put their face into that content. They're gonna be like, wow, there's so much to do. And it's gonna I hope they appeal to that, because they're trying their best on their side to really appeal to people that don't invest much into the game and to the hardcore players that really want that edge, you know.
They're trying to find that balance. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
It's definitely a sweet spot. So, guys, this is the part where we do all of our shameless plugs, which I know all my viewers know about. For those of you who want to check out my TERA content, you can always go to youtube.com/Kilryan. If you want to be updated anytime I start streaming and or upload a YouTube video, you can always check out my Twitter @Kilryan or on my Facebook @Kilryan as well. Let's see, Flo, what's your plug life?
Alright, well, if you want to see any competitive PvP or any sort of like K-TERA videos, any sort of new content which I hope to cover, you can check out my Twitch channel at twitch.tv/Flowroro, as long as my hitbox is Flowroro as well. If you want any sort of updates on what I plan to do, maybe I also plan to write up some of my personal afterthoughts on certain things. You can check out my Facebook, same thing, Flowroro. And of course, all my news is on Twitter, since I'm trying my best to get into that plug life as well. Yep.
Alright, guys, and so that'll be the end of the podcast. For those of you who want to submit topics, because we have not had that many submissions recently, if you want to submit a topic and you want us to talk about it, please go to Twitter and do #EverythingTERA. That is this podcast. Anything that you want to ask, even if it's like a minor thing, we'll typically even check the Twitter of that and respond to it, if not talk about it in the following, in next week's. This one was a little bit delayed because I did have work today, so you can expect to see them on Saturdays, and we will announce the time probably the day before or a little bit before that. But it is going to be every single Saturday. We are going to be uploading this to... I know I'm going to be uploading it to my respective YouTube. I don't know, Flo, are you going to be uploading this to yours?
Sure, I'll do it this time.
Alright. So, thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the third Everything TERA podcast. And yeah, we'll catch you all next week.
Catch you guys later.